I like the Daz, Albie. I'm not going to lie to you. I like the Daz.
The Daz?
Daz. Kid.
The Daz? As in Daz that walk around near our house?
Exactly, with little antlers. And today there was, yesterday there was a deer out there. It was yesterday, right? It wasn't this morning. A deer across the street. And then today, as I drove in here, there was a little deer just standing there, not really spooked by the car, just eating. I'm all about it. I love the deer.
Maybe we can harness their energy and use them to cut back some of the growth that's in our yard area.
I'm serious, dude. I would love that. Please, Daz, come in, please.
Speaking of which, we think we're down to one chicken.
Yeah, you know, Lord giveth. But it's a good one. Mayo. It was a little white chicken. And so that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. So the deer, that's done, okay? What else was it that I wanted to mention? Today's a nice day, and we're eating better. That's right. And I got more arugula, which we love. We're becoming an arugula family. And
everyone loves arugula.
Yeah, we should eat these nice little foods. I mean, even though I'm getting collection calls from God knows where, my card still works at the store, so we're able to buy first world foods like arugula.
Nice.
Which is wonderful. We got Asiago cheese. It's balsamic, a little lemon. There we go. Like the rich people do, Alice.
Nice.
Okay. So I guess the big news today is about the January 6th stuff. Cassidy Hutchinson. WASPy Hutchinson was in front of the January 6th people all day. She's Medgar Evers, John Meacham. What's her? Who did she work for?
Mark Meadows.
Mark Meadows. She's Mark Meadows' aide de camp, essentially. And so she was on Team Trump. And she testified some interesting stuff. It was actually kind of interesting stuff. But most of it I kind of heard before, except for one point today. She talked about how Trump tried to pull the steering wheel away from a Secret Service person. He wanted to go to the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And so in the... By the way, you can spare me, both Republicans and liberals, who are reading this saying, oh my goodness, I've been covering this for 30 years, and I've never seen something like this.
There's a bunch of people saying that this is the John Dean moment.
Right. Well, they've been waiting for the John Dean, of course. Right. and it's really not. It's just simply confirmation bias. They're getting play by play about Trump being Trumping. He's saying, I'm the effing president. I want to go to the effing Capitol. And at some point they say he grabbed the wheel, the Secret Service person. Now I am seeing that the Secret Service disputes this. The people involved there, and as a matter
this guy is going to testify, right?
I don't know, but as a matter of fact, like if you're riding in the presidential limo, you're not anywhere near the wheel.
Well, but a bunch of reporters are saying that that's not accurate what they're saying because he wasn't in the limo that day. He was in the SUV, which maybe you're closer or something than in the limo. Well, she
mentioned Black Bess or Black Betty, whatever.
She said the Beast, but
right.
But there's video of him getting into the But the point is, she wasn't in the car anyway.
But,
to talk about it, but I. And here's my thing about like all of this really is just that the whole thing reads the same as like the Stormy Daniels fantasies about Trump and stuff. It's just like a little too neat and perfectly fits these weird fantasies that the left has about Trump. Same with like the P-tape stuff, right? Like it just fits into their mental image of him a little too perfectly, and that makes me suspicious. Add to that the fact that she wasn't actually in the car for any of this, but she's saying that he tried not only to grab the wheel, but then attempted to choke out the Secret Service agent who was driving the car, which, like, I want to hear the Secret Service agent testify what happened now, because it seems like we would have heard about that before now if that happened, but I mean, obviously, if he tried to choke out a Secret Service agent, that's a bad thing. Like, I'm not going to defend that.
Well, that would be amazing if he did that. No doubt. And when I heard some of this stuff about that car trip today, Todd and I were talking. Todd Feinberg, he's also on my station. We were talking on a Zoom call. And my takeaway was like, wow, he was really dedicated. The guy really wanted to get down there. The other stuff is, like, let them go past the mags, get rid of the mags, which is the metal detectors. Right. That stuff is being misconstrued. He just wanted people to be able to get in, you know?
Right.
To his event. But they're using anything that is either audio of Trump or hearsay of Trump or text of something that's hearsay of Trump as, you see, which is the same thing. It's the confirmation bias that people who have gone nuts over Trump are looking for, and they get high off of it, and they get hysterical from. It's the same thing with the Woodward and Bernstein, the Bob Woodward book thing. It had the audio of Trump saying, "Yeah, well, the coronavirus. Well, it's not just the flu. But we want to downplay it. I want to downplay it. Play it." And because it's on scratchy audio, you're like, "Oh, see, I'm hearing part of history. Yes, the truth is, he's downplaying it. The coronavirus that he brought to this country is downplaying it."
Of course, at the time, they all said he was overplaying it.
But of course, here's the thing. It's not really damning. He was downplaying it. He should have downplayed it. Absolutely. Was he going to tell the world to freaking panic? But they remove all context with this guy, and it never turns out. It's never right for them. Never. I mean, the Billy Bush stuff, absolutely. But they ruined that too. They said the president just admitted to sexually assaulting women.
Well, exactly. It's like,
right, but
he said it on tape. He likes to sexually assault women.
He admitted to sexual assault on tape. It's like, no, he said that it's consensual because he's famous, so he can just do that kind of stuff. It's like, you have grab him by the pussy right there verbatim. Why do you need more? Left. Why do you need to make it even more? You see, it's even worse than that.
Well, and the thing is, too, the problem with this stuff is that it is mixed up in stuff that is also bad and just cringe and terrible and that you would never want the president doing that probably is true. Like you're saying, the Billy Bush tape stuff, yes, is true. And that's it's gross
in his defense,
he said that stuff.
The president didn't do that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the president didn't do that. That's accurate.
He was a very young man when that happened.
Did that. But okay, but to go back to what I was saying though, is so there was other stuff in here. She says she went into the office where he was, and there was ketchup dripping down the wall because he'd thrown his plate at the wall. And I do believe that he was probably eating a meal with ketchup and threw a plate at somebody.
Sure.
I find that believable.
Absolutely.
I don't find it believable that he necessarily tried to choke out a Secret Service agent.
No.
But I do think it's possible he threw a plate at somebody.
Well, yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, that seems
the
reasonable.
person he beat was known for
Which
throwing
is also
stuff
bad
at
behavior.
people, by the way.
He also, didn't come out and make a statement when he should have come out and make a statement. His behavior was not good that day.
Right.
But the question isn't whether his behavior was good that day because, well, I don't know if everyone agrees on that, but you and I certainly agree on that his behavior wasn't good that day. But the question is whether his behavior was criminal that day. And the president throwing a plate at the wall because he's angry might not be good behavior, but it's also not illegal.
No, and it's not unprecedented.
No, definitely not.
Come on, it's. I don't know what I don't know what they want, but here's a
and
little
then
bit.
we have. Do you know my other favorite thing that happened? It's Stephanie Grisham. Did you see this?
No.
She retweeted the tweet. She's released this before, but where she texted Melania. She has a screenshot of the tweet where she texted Melania to say, "Do you want to tweet out that even though." Whatever, but there's never a reason, people have a right to peaceful protest, but there's never any reason for violence or, illegal behavior. And she just texted back, no, Melania did, which doesn't make Melania look bad at all. She said no. She said she didn't want to condemn the violence.
Okay, so here's a little bit of Cassidy. 5 bombshells Cassidy Hutchinson revealed about January 6th. And we'll decide, because me and Alice have been busy today. We haven't really heard much of this stuff. Here's the bombshells.
When we were in the offstage announce area tent behind the stage, he was very concerned about the shot, meaning the photograph that we would get, because the rally space wasn't full. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away.
So he's concerned because the backdrop is empty, so it looks empty. So he wants the people to go.
The magnetometers,
yes,
or whatever. The metal detectors.
The metal detectors. He wants them out of there so the people can flood into the area where he's going to be speaking. It would, if only endanger him. So that's a bombshell. And how? Because he cares about his optics? Because he's from TV and he's a promoter?
Well, I think there's a few things they're trying to imply here.
Mm-hmm.
So Well, one, you're right. It does only endanger him. And even though he's saying they're not here to hurt me, he has no idea who's in that crowd. Like, it could have been also a blue wave idiot who had a weapon who's going to try and kill him. Right? So that's fine. But I think the point that they're trying to make is that he wanted people to be able to get into the crowd with weapons so that then when he turned his Secret Service car around and led the march onto the Capitol to take over and get crowned emperor, they would all be armed to back him up.
Right. That seems like the kind of thing Donald Trump would do.
But that's the type of thing that they're saying on the truth. January 6th truthers are saying on Twitter right now. That's like the fantasy thing that they've built up in their heads around this. Which, and again, what's dangerous about this is that the implication is silly and obviously not true. But probably the events she's relaying, that probably is true. I believe that he did probably say, let them in with weapons. I don't effing care. I'm the president. They're not here to hurt me. And I need the shot to look good so that I look like I have a big crowd.
Right.
Believable. I believe that
and by the way, if he wasn't saying that, there's somebody on his staff, or should be, who's paid to say that. You know, if you were the communications, that's the point to smack anything. But I'm sure at some point you of course you want the whole thing covered. He shouldn't have had the rally anyway. But if you're gonna have a rally, it's not. If suddenly once again Donald Trump invented political optics. Oh my God, he selfishly tried to stage a scene never done before by any president before. Never done before.
Well, and so apparently too, somebody was saying something about there being AR-15s in the crowd because Trump wouldn't make the people go through metal detectors. I think somebody would have noticed if there were AR-15s in the crowd. It's not true that there was not one gun at the Capitol.
None got in, supposedly.
There were 3 on the Capitol grounds.
Okay,
at
but
least
none got
that
in.
I know of, including that guy who was the off-duty federal agent who was there. 3 people were charged with having a gun on the Capitol grounds, but that's it. And none of them were attempting to use them. There are stupid people who didn't realize they weren't supposed to have them there.
Trump was speaking. Well, the people went off to attack the Capitol.
I thought it was earlier.
Well, the Proud Boys were casing the place a long time. Who cares? Okay, let's go to the next one.
Also, is the January 6th committee gonna get to the pipe bombs at any point?
No.
Okay.
No.
Motion for me to come in, and then pointed towards the front of the room near the fireplace mantle and the TV, where I first noticed there was ketchup dripping down the wall, and there's a shattered porcelain plate on the floor. The valet had articulated that the president was extremely angry at the Attorney General's AP interview and had thrown his lunch against the wall.
And are there other instances in the dining room that you recall where he expressed his anger?
There were several times throughout my tenure with the Chief of Staff that I was aware of him either throwing dishes or flipping the tablecloth to let all the contents of the table go onto the floor and likely break or go everywhere. So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with...
Okay. I think she's horse shitting here. I'm sorry. I'm just reading her body language, and I think but that said, it's still, I'm not shocked.
Yeah, it's not illegal to pull dishes off the table.
What is he, a raging a-hole when he gets angry as he eats? Oh no. Who cares? Who cares? He threw his ketchup, he threw his thing against the wall. My goodness. I've heard that there are presidents who actually got blowjobs while they were in the Oval Office. I'm not sure if that's true, but who knows? I don't care if he's an a-hole. When you disgraced your family, Alice, by bringing home that
I brought home
horrific obscenity of a pizza.
I brought pizza home from a bougie pizza place. And Tom was picking off vegetables from the pizza and throwing them across the room.
And I stand by that. And that was a rational move and appropriate to how I'd been offended, much like Donald Trump's was.
That was your stolen election.
With Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol, and when Bobby had relayed to him, we don't have the assets to do it, it's not secure, we're going back to the West Wing. The president had a very angry response to that. I'm the effing president. take me up to the Capitol now. To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel.
And Mr. Cipollone said something.
Right, well, that's it. Now, I definitely can see him saying, "I'm the effing president." Mm-hmm. And you go where I wanted you to go. I'm sure that this is something that he had to say again and again, because a lot of the stuff that Trump used to order was just blown off. Some of it, of course, was borderline illegal, if not illegal. But fine. Do I think he grabbed the steering wheel? I don't really think so. It just doesn't even... But then again, maybe he lost his mind. Maybe he did. Well, that's somebody having a tantrum. Alice is drinking right now, her beer. Maybe he's having a tantrum in the... You don't get to clandestinely pretend you're not drinking using the camera angles.
I get to do what I want. I'm the video producer of this show.
So I don't know. It, like I said, if this is actually true, word for word, wow, he really wanted to go to the Capitol because he really wanted to overturn the election or have the right the justified results come out. Whatever was going on in his head. Either way, I'm still not shocked. I'm not shocked. I'm sorry. I've looked a little bit into history and antics of people, and I'm not shocked.
Something to you like, make sure the movement to the Capitol does not happen. Is that correct?
That's correct. I saw Mr. Cipollone right before I walked out onto West Exec that morning, and Mr. Cipollone said something to the effect of, "Please make sure we don't go up to the Capitol, Cassidy. Keep in touch with me. We're going to get charged with every crime imaginable if we make that movement happen."
And do you remember which crimes Mr. Cipollone was concerned with?
In the days leading up to the 6th, we had conversations about potentially obstructing justice or defrauding the electoral count.
Do you know why that group of people thought it was necessary for him to release a statement?
There was a large concern of the 25th Amendment potentially being invoked, and there were concerns about what would happen in the Senate if the 25th was invoked. So the primary reason that I had heard, other than, we did not do enough on the 6th, we need to get a stronger message out there and condemn this, otherwise this will be your legacy. The secondary reason to that was, think about what might happen in the final 15 days of your presidency if we don't do this. There's already talks about invoking the 25th Amendment. You need this as cover.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I mean, was Trump a raging a-hole who was outside of the decorum and norms of most raging a-holes in Washington, D.C.? Sure, yes, because he's Donald Trump. He's
I also
a guy
think he thought he won an election
and
it was stolen from
I
him.
agree. No, that doesn't necessarily, if he still was, if he still did something illegal in trying to switch numbers up, then indict him or shut the please. I'm just this sick of this.
Yeah, but the combing through his behavior that day with a fine-tooth comb, you're not going to find what they want to find, which is that he was on the phone with Proud Boys planning their movements to kill Mike Pence or whatever.
Right. So now they're pretending that this was their goal all along. You see how unstable and attacked the Secret Services, and supposedly from reporting I've seen, the Secret Service agents are going to go public and say that didn't happen. But whatever. Even if it did happen, this was a year and a half ago. I have gone through this with myself and you.
Well, yeah,
already.
If there was a conspiracy that they were going to find, then somebody would be charged with that. I mean, there are some people charged with coordinating their movements that day. A few of these groups that were there coordinated with each other. But, there wasn't really... There's not the insurrection that they want to be there. There's not Trump actually leading a group to try and take over the government, right? And they're really trying to make this seem like his attempt to take over either the limo or the SUV or whatever it was that he was in to go to the Capitol was like a serious attempt at a coup. But that's just not what this was. And to try and make it into that, like, do I think this stuff is somewhat damaging to Trump, like, politically? Yeah, sure.
Well, so here's Peter Alexander, who's the chief White House correspondent for NBC.
Okay.
So one of those guys reports, a source close to the Secret Service tells me that both Bobby Engel, the lead agent, and the presidential limousine SUV driver are prepared to testify under oath that neither man was assaulted and that Mr. Trump never lunged for the steering wheel.
So, yeah. So, and since this woman was not in the car when any of this happened, it's going to be hard to put her word above theirs. I don't doubt that somebody might have told her that this happened, possibly. But there's also the fact that apparently she had been telling people that she was going to be going to work for Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And
yes,
after all this happened, and that when that didn't happen, that she was disgruntled, and that's part of what's going on here.
Yeah, I can see that totally, and I can see that. I mean, she's a Republican who wants to be on the ascent in Washington, D.C., and she's got a chance here to make a name for herself, and she'll be coddled by certain Republicans. I'm sure that there are certain Republicans who purport to be Trump fans who are saying, we got to knock this guy out of contention. We can't have him run. We just can't have him run. But cannot say it publicly, of course, because it's skewered. So I wouldn't be surprised. I by the way, I think Democrats are not playing a long game here, but I don't want Trump to run. So if this is the thing that pushes him away, it's not going to be, though. There's no kill shot with Trump, and I don't mean that in the assassin way. There just never is.
I know. I mean, like, I admit I was definitely guilty of this at the beginning. Like, I thought when he said that stuff about McCain, like, I prefer people who didn't get captured. Like, I thought that was going to be the end of it, but it was not. And he kept coming back. Like, all of the stuff that would be damaging for, like, a normal person just rolled off him. Like, Teflon Don, right? That's the thing with him, is it just doesn't seem to stick to him at all. So, I don't know. I can't predict the future. But, Chris Cillizza has a big piece out in case you didn't miss 2016 enough and Trump won't go away and is continuing to say he's going to run. Chris Cillizza has a big piece out at CNN saying that a bunch of people are demanding that Hillary Clinton get in.
Well, she's been very vocal recently. She's been out there and so
talking about Roe and stuff. Yep.
So I'm not surprised. That said, I would be a little surprised if I don't think it's a winning gambit, certainly. Oh, sorry. This is my show. It's arrived, Alice.
Oh, thank goodness.
So this is 17 minutes of Al. Show. Should we play it live? Should we drop it in?
Why don't we drop it in?
Oh, we don't have to.
It's
not. I mean, it's evergreen.
Well, we can drop it in after, and I can go pick up Sally from softball, too.
Well, but then we don't.
Then we don't what?
Drop it in after. Okay, so you're gonna pretend you heard it?
Well, I can go listen to it. Like,
okay. Do you want to just save it for tomorrow?
We can save it for tomorrow, too. Okay. That's fine.
We'll save it for tomorrow. You can listen to it. I'll forward it to you right now. It's a caller I had today on my radio show. Might have been just... it was maybe the best call I've ever... Just an extraordinary person. That's all I'll say. And it was just extraordinary, and he was so interesting and good that he stopped the hour in its tracks. And I kept him on for as long as I could, and he was actually followed then by another great caller who admitted that she usually listens. She clicks back between me and Clay Travis and Buck, and she said, like, I click between you and Buck and Trav. I ordered her to stay with me, but instead it wasn't fair because there were two of them. Anyway, so check it out. We'll have that here somewhere. I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, you're talking about Hillary Clinton, and she has been out and about. She has been outspoken. She has been talking about stuff. I also think that the move. I agree. And also, Hillary gave an interview. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago on Justice Thomas, which is a highly troubled interview.
Yeah, she called him a person of grievance.
Right, that she knew him during law school, whatever. And that appears to be almost completely impossible, that she didn't know him, and as a matter of fact, when she knew him, he was a big lefty. He was a radical lefty. If they saw each other in law school. That's a very Clinton thing to make something up like that. But I mean, I think it's possible. Also, you're seeing more and more stories, for instance, like the one in The Hill. There are more and more stories like this. No, not that. Like this. Pressure grows on Biden to take action on abortion ruling, which is really essentially where all this national parks, abortion depot stuff is happening. But Democrats are increasing pressure on Biden to take executive action to protect abortion rights in the wake of Supreme Court. Action from the president alone cannot reverse the slew of state bans going on into effect after Friday's ruling, but vocal Democrats say the urgency of the moment requires taking all action available to increase abortion access as much as possible. Liz Warren and Patty Murray, leading a group of 23 other senators, including allowing abortion to be performed on federal property and providing vouchers for women to travel out of state.
So can I say something about that?
Yeah.
Which is, I read a really interesting legal analysis of that proposal by someone on Twitter, so I don't really know if they're an expert or not. But what they were saying is that part of the problem with doing that, and one reason why the Biden administration might be hesitant, is that the federal government has jurisdiction to enforce state laws on federal land. So if somebody breaks like the law of that state in the federal land that's in that state, the DOJ can go after them. And the Biden administration DOJ obviously would not do that. Like as a matter of policy, they would choose not to do that. But the statute of limitations on that stuff won't be up by 2024. So if they did that stuff and let people do all these abortions on federal land in violation of the state laws of those states, President Ron DeSantis could come in January of 2025 and have the AG and the Department of Justice go after those people then, which would not be a positive outcome as far as the Biden administration is concerned. That would be like a really problematic way for it to all play out in the end.
That is interesting. It's like, yeah, it's not an autonomous country. Although Alice, I don't think that they'd be afraid to try it.
Well, yeah, I don't think they'd be afraid to try it, but I think they may be afraid that if they try it, a future Republican president could go after those abortion providers and potentially get them in a lot of legal trouble. Right? I mean, I think that that's like a big vulnerability in that plan, if that's really the case.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I've been listening to a bunch of stuff on it, but Yeah,
and the Hyde Amendment really prevents them from doing a lot of stuff. So unless they can get Manchin and Sinema on board to get rid of the filibuster, to get rid of the Hyde Amendment, they really have a big problem because they're not allowed to do... The Hyde Amendment basically is no federal money for abortions unless rape, incest, or life of the mother. Mm-hmm. So, like, already we don't pay for them for service members and don't do them on any military bases unless it's rape, incest, or the life of the mother. Period. The end. We can't spend any federal money on it. So if they use federal money, say like for travel vouchers for people or something, they're not sure if that would be covered by the Hyde Amendment or not. And there's so many conservative justices now because Trump appointed so many. If they try it, it might not hold up in the courts. They might interpret the Hyde Amendment to mean that they can't use it for travel vouchers to get discretionary abortions either. Because traditionally what's happened is that, like, if a service member gets pregnant on a military base overseas, they can't, and it's not rape, incest, and their life's not in danger, then they have to, like, go off base in whatever third world hellhole they're in and, like, try and get one there at their own expense and on their own time off. They can't, like, the government can't cover it at all because of the Hyde Amendment. So I mean, like, it's not clear how much they can really legally do and how much the courts might just throw out there. They're really legally in a tough spot. Not that, I mean, like, obviously Biden tried to still do the CDC eviction moratorium thing, even though that was obviously, he knew, he had been told by the court that was not going to fly. But, in this case where they could put, other parties, in the Democrats' view, innocent people in danger of prosecution under later presidents, or put these people that they keep telling us are like vulnerable populations more at risk, it's really a big problem. I don't know what they're legally going to do. They're kind of in a bit of a bind. They're sort of stuck as far as I can tell. But I don't know. It's an interesting issue for sure. And I'll be interested to see what they try and do and if the courts let it stand or not, because it's sort of like uncharted territory with the government really trying to undermine state laws, and now it's not just Ron DeSantis. Like during the pandemic, they were trying to undermine things Ron DeSantis was doing on his own. But now it's like a whole bunch of states that they're trying to go to war with over this stuff. And there's a lot of individual people involved with very sensitive issues at stake, including, the legal ramifications potentially on abortion providers, the medical care of these women. Like all these aspects are sort of up in the air, and it's really complicated and difficult and like sort of in this weird legal gray zone that it's going to have to play out in the courts before we can really see what happens. So I mean, I don't know. It's sort of a mess in terms of like what they're actually going to do. I don't know what will happen there. So yeah, the bear that lives near us. Did you see it, honey?
A bear? Oh yeah. That's what I meant to bring up. That's what I saw right before the deer. Yes.
Oh, right. So there's a house near us that has a wooden statue of a bear that tends to weigh in on current events with little signs and stuff. If you recall, during the pandemic, it had a little tombstone in front of it that said, "Oops, I didn't get my COVID vaccine," to point out how funny it was that people died who didn't get the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
So the tombstone has made a reappearance, but this time it doesn't say oops. This time it says justice, R.I.P. 6/24/22. So apparently that's not oops, ha tombstone. Roe v. Wade is very serious death tombstone that we're not allowed to laugh at. The children very serious. So
yes. Yeah, I saw it. I know. I just wanted to read play something for you here that I've gotten. This is from Colchester, Connecticut. Okay. And it's just the small things, the details here.
The children's book, Creating Controversy in Colchester.
So Colchester's a nice town. Yeah, it's this town, essentially. So imagine, I want to get over... Well, I'll let you listen.
The children's book, Creating Controversy in Colchester. That book is about drag queen RuPaul. Parents in town are defending it. Others are raising concerns, however.
That book has been pulled off the shelf here at the library and is being held at the desk so folks can still stop.
So it's there's a series of books called American Notables, and the JFK's in there and Henry Ford and whatever. I just whatever. And one of them's RuPaul. Mm-hmm. And RuPaul is somebody who's accomplished stuff, is a celebrity, is an interesting celebrity, has mainstream, well, maybe not the first mainstream drag queen, but kind of, pretty much.
Yeah, and the show Drag Race and all that stuff.
The show mainstream, yeah.
People watch
and
that,
actually,
yeah.
RuPaul was a pop star in the 90s, which is how my people discovered him. So here's the thing. So now there's this book on RuPaul, and for Pride Month, it's in the kids section. And on one of the pages, it shows an image or drawing, whatever, of RuPaul or in drag with thigh-high leather boots and some kind of lingerie thing. And in one of the pictures, he is essentially on the receiving end of a missionary-style sexual escapade. Except there's nobody... It's just the legs that way, etc. Okay?
Okay. So
that's the problem. It's that picture in there that's in the kids' section. It's
risque.
Yes. It's somebody, yes. In the midst of...
It's not a book that would... It's not something that you would ever feature a woman doing that in a children's library.
No, absolutely. So, but listen to this. I want to just get in the minds of the people in the town. Think these are people essentially from Melrose. They really want to be good people. So listen to this.
If they want to check it out and see what it's about. Now we did an online search and you can actually find it at quite a few libraries across the state.
You want your kids to be around a community that's accepting of everybody.
You want your kids to be around a community that's accepting to everybody. How does that mean the guy getting laid in the picture has to be in the kids section? Yes, I'm going to submit my kid to some level of hypersexualized graphic content because we want the kids to be accepting of everybody.
Right.
Yes, sorry. Yes, honey, I just want you to realize that there are absolute, trashy male whores who make a living doing male whorish things. And yes, go ahead. It's in the book and that's fine. How is that? Where is any of the safeguards as a parent saying, oh, I see. There's a picture of him splayed out there that's very sexual. That's not for kids. I'm telling you, Alice, these people, this is the road to drowning kids in a bathtub for their own good. It is.
It is. It's insane. It's absolutely nuts, the idea that it's fine to take sexual content and show it to kids in terms of being accepting. But, I mean, like, they've been pushing towards this for a while. It's like, what's sad is I'm not even that shocked anymore that there's a bunch of parents that's for it. And we're only 1 year out from a year ago. It was pretty shocking when a mom wrote that she wanted her kids to see kink at Pride, to see men dressed in chaps and with dog face masks on or whatever crazy thing, right? Like, it's really, there's like a bunch of adults who want kids now to be exposed to sexual content to be accepting. And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious where that ends up. It's not new or progressive or, it doesn't lead to anywhere, to uncharted territory or something. We know exactly where that leads because...
Is there a parallel here between this and the Catholic Church? You've got let's say a broken home, mom taking care of the kids, life ain't great, dad's nowhere to be found, dead, whatever, etc. Or there is no dad, whatever. And going to the church as a validation in saying, I'm flawed, fallible, and somewhat broken. Take little Johnny. And he can be our project together, but mostly your project, Father. And please just make sure I get some validation and some redemption, please.
I don't know that I necessarily see the parallel there because the Catholic Church isn't explicitly sexual in that way. Like, I mean, there are obviously, so I'll say this, that obviously there have been some individuals in positions of power in the Catholic Church.
No, I don't mean systemically. I just mean how it was able to be done. How pedophiles were able to gain entrance and trust.
I mean, I think to a degree, yes. Like, I think that a lot of times the adults who are putting kids in these situations and abusing kids absolutely do gain the trust of parents. They absolutely do seek out kids that have less parental involvement in their lives and are looking for mentors and figures to look up to.
Yes, but aren't the parents getting positive feedback and validation?
Yeah.
They're saying,
you
see, we trust you. Little Johnny can hang out in the rectory. And please bestow upon me some good feelings and reinforcement that I'm doing something good, which is the same thing these parents are doing. Here, take little Johnny, let him read about RuPaul's penis, and then bestow upon me, community, please.
Tell me how accepting and wonderful
exactly.
I am.
Like, there's another guy coming up here that I want you to hear.
It's learning about a controversy involving this book at the Cragen Memorial Library in Colchester. It's a biography about the drag queen RuPaul.
The book in question is about a gay black man in America who's done a lot to bring awareness to gay culture and normalize it.
We're told the
What?
Mostly the guys in the missionary position receiving lovin' while wearing boots and a teddy. well, he's a notable
Gay
black man,
man.
and he's done a lot to it. What do you mean? What is all this? What is all this? All his credentials you're reading off to us? Oh, it's very important. There's several very important things about. What about the porn aspect that's going on? Well, no, he's a gay black man. What a values effing system this is. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's
what is this? He's allowed all these things. Well, the people are upset about the RuPaul, but well, no, he's an influential gay black man. I mean, why wouldn't we? What are you talking about? It doesn't matter who. Okay, so why is this like? Be alarmed that some dude has their hand down your 5-year-old's pants when you see that happening. First, be alarmed at that for me. Can you do me a favor and be alarmed at that?
Well, is it a black man?
No, well, let's look at the No, be alarmed. Have as a parent it alarm you. Have a reflex like you're getting burnt on a stove. Have something alarm you. But no. Well, if you
I think you're referring to bigotry that you need to crush out of your
We want a community where what are you talking about the community? The hand is in the pants now. This is freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Psychos. And that dude and that lady have a big freaking Ukraine sign in their front lawn, and they've got all sorts of stuff to say about you and me, and they wear a big mask, and they're all sorts of they're doing all the right things. Meanwhile, they're letting this crap happen.
Right.
And and this is willful blindness.
Right, absolutely. It's a they're letting this, club being held over their head of fear of being called racist and bigoted and transphobic and whatever else, completely turn off all their parental instincts and everything else, right? And I mean, like we said, when we had the incident in our school district where an adult man who was substitute teaching was accused of this stuff, like, what does it take that, like, a 25-year-old is talking to your 11-year-old kid on TikTok and, like, asking them to be a model and telling, I mean, like, how far does it have to go before you have some kind of recoil reaction to it? But, like, apparently some people just have totally, tolerance to that completely out of themselves. They've gotten rid of it.
Right. And right now they're in a wine bar somewhere, slowly going over the text of the transcript of how Trump lunged at somebody in the Secret Service. Like, oh my goodness, this is the very fabric of our country. The very fabric of our country, honey. Where's Junior? Oh, he's with the drag queen down the street, the guy with a rap sheet. But, it's fine. Trump, he was mean to the limo driver, Mm-hmm. All right, I'm good. You done?
I think that's it for today. I think that.
Yeah, we got a bolt. We've got to go grab a DOTTER right down the street. Well, actually, further than down the street. A
little far today.
Danvers, Ked.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening. You can find us at burnbarrelpodcast.com. We are also on Twitter at burnbarrelpod and at facebook.com/burnbarrelpodcast. You can shoot us an email, burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com. And anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, if you want to leave us an Apple review, that would be much appreciated. We love that. It supposedly does something. It makes the show more popular, but who knows?
C'est la vie.